everyone, and welcome to New Pod Who Dis. I am your co-host, Jake. I'm here with Jackie.
Hello.
Joey.
What's up?
And Steven.
How's it going?
Hey, so this is episode 1 of a series that we will be producing basically about our take on the world as we know it.
Because that's what you want to know.
I mean,
it's what we think.
Who doesn't want to hear the thoughts of 4 20-somethings just living their best lives?
Because there's not a million podcasts out there already like that.
Hey,
This one's special.
this one's very special.
4 unique takes.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We're all from different walks of life and backgrounds. So let's just get right into it, guys. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So our first segment, Sup?
Sup?
One of the biggest things that happened this week is iOS 11 coming out, right?
Yeah, iOS 11 broke my phone.
What happened?
I literally had to restore it from a backup multiple times.
Couldn't
Took
handle it?
hours. I think it's just because I updated for the first time when everyone else was updating.
Yeah, but didn't you also have like an iPhone 4?
No, not an iPhone 4. I'm on the 6.
No, Steven's got
I'm
a
still-
5C with a cracked screen.
Actually,
it's a paperweight. No, but I think what I noticed the most about iOS 11 is the design stuff. Like
Sure.
open up messages and just and you're in messages.
So did you see that, I don't know if we have any Apple Music users here, but I'm an avid Apple Music user, and they actually changed the format of Apple Music and it matches messages.
I'm all about that Spotify life.
Yeah, I'm on that
Spotify
Spotify life too.
Yeah,
It's
you're the
cool
lone
I
wolf.
use Apple Music.
I'm just trying to push the needle forward, being a loyal
Oh, are you Taylor
Apple.
Swift?
You know me. I really enjoy the new control panel.
Yeah, did you
what-
customize yours?
Absolutely. What do you have? What are you rocking on yours, Steven?
I added everything I could.
Well, everybody has a button that doesn't actually turn your Wi-Fi off or turn your Bluetooth off.
I just heard about that today. So even though I'm turning it off, I'm not.
Correct. You're just disconnecting all devices that are currently connected through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi.
It's that's so backwards.
I'm lost.
It's a scam.
Like when you undo the Wi-Fi, you're not actually disconnecting from or not turning off Wi-Fi as a setting. You're just disconnecting from the Wi-Fi that you're currently on, but Wi-Fi is still on.
It's most notable for Bluetooth because Apple wants to track you all the time.
I just like my biggest take from iOS 11 is definitely changing from dots to my bar on my bars to back to bars. So next to my Verizon logo, there's actually bars again. So I mean that's my
really hard.
biggest favorite thing.
It's super
How many
hard.
bars are you rocking?
I got 2 bars.
2 bars.
I'm
got
on a
one
solid
bar.
Wi-Fi though.
The Wi-Fi.
Hey, so what about this? You guys know what Trix cereal is?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was the best
course.
commercial ever when I was a kid.
What was your
that
favorite
the one
part?
That was like, the colors, Duke. The colors.
colors.
Oh, colorblind kid. Was that one?
It might have been. General Mills cereal does Trix.
Yeah, but does no one remember that commercial?
I don't remember that commercial.
Are you kidding?
No.
I didn't get a lot of sugary
First of all,
cereal.
my impression was
Spot on.
it was impeccable, but also the fact that you don't remember that is really
No,
upsetting.
it was the colors because actually Trix, this might be a mind blower for you guys, was Kix first. Kid tested, mother approved.
Yeah, we all-
They sprinkled some sugar on it.
But Kix had sugar.
No, but like real sugar, not a touch.
Oh man! So are they coming back? Is that what this is about?
No, so what happened was in 1991 they actually were cylindrical balls, and then they changed to the fruit shapes. So an orange looked like an orange even though it was still a ball. The banana looked like a banana. The crazy berry looked like a crazy berry, and then they switched back. And now, since the color dyes in the food are not good to ingest, they tried to use natural fruit juice to color the cereal, and it just ended up looking like if you put the sepia filter over top of a bowl of Trix, and it looks like a bowl of mush. It's terrible.
It's 50% color.
And kids should probably just eat regular fruit.
If they turn the hue down, yeah, exactly. There's Trix with the hue down.
Just the opacity filter on the whole Trix situation. But they taste the same. Did you eat them? Have you had them?
No, they're terrible. It messed with the flavor too because they used fruit juices for the cereal. So when I poured myself a bowl, trying to relive my youth.
Did you buy a box of Trix?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was looking for Trix. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm trying to relive my past.
You're trying, and it's sepia, so it's perfect.
Exactly.
Throwing that Instagram filter on your Trix.
Honestly, like walking down the cereal aisle in the supermarket is like walking through like a black hole of time. Like it's like, oh, I ate these when I was like 5 and these when I was like 7, and none of them are good for you. They're all full of sugar.
Bowls of sugar,
Yeah, like
cow juice and sugar.
and they were all delicious.
What,
and I
what
kinda
was
wish
your
I still ate
favorite
them.
cereal growing up?
Mine was Berry Berry Kicks.
Yeah,
And
that
they
was a solid
discontinued
one.
those. I wrote a letter to General Mills because they didn't change the back of the box for like 10 years, and my mom was sick of me complaining about it. She's like, you should just write them a letter. And I wrote them a letter, and then they just kind of stopped making them, but also never responded to my letter.
So like you're talking about like the
I
puzzles
think I'm
and stuff?
responsible. I think
Like
this
the
is my
puzzles on the
fault.
back?
Yeah, it was like this mall scene, and you had to find the errors or something like that. And so I knew where all the answers were, and I just didn't want to do that anymore.
You're like a kid genius. You get the box and you just finish it
but
in
that can
20
only
seconds.
that trick only lasts so long. And then my dad's like, cool, we get it. You've done this before.
See, I don't think they actually kept using the same back. I think your mom just like bulk purchased and just had
It's
a
possible. They're
dungeon
a big
full.
Big Costco family.
Exactly.
Did
So
you look
there's-
at the expiration dates?
I don't care. That cereal is delicious.
No, true story. I did have a friend growing up that his mom, he was wheat sensitive. He had celiac disease, still does. But his mom bought him like 100 boxes of corn puffs because they stopped producing them, and it was the only cereal that he could eat because it was gluten free. But it was still like a kid.
Flakes.
Corn flakes? Yeah, but they weren't fun.
What about frosted corn flakes?
Too much sugar.
Okay. Corn puffs are good, I guess.
What do you guys think about? Did you guys see this thing that was happening in Colorado Springs?
The Mad Pooper?
Oh my god, it killed me. It absolutely killed me. I sent it to like 12 people.
The Mad Pooper. So, if you're not familiar with the Mad Pooper story, the neighborhood in Silver Springs, there was a jogger.
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs, excuse me.
Don't put that pooper in
That hits
somebody
too close to
else's
home.
Don't bring the
yard.
pooper to DC. The DC area.
No.
Colorado Springs.
So, there was a lady jogging, and a different lady, not the same lady, opened her door to pick up her paper and saw a lady just drop trowel, squatted down, just unloading on her sidewalk.
I can't handle
What would
it.
you, Jackie? What would you do if
First
you?
of all, that woman would not be pooping on my lawn. She would be non-existent if she pooped on my lawn. But the idea of just watching somebody just jogging along in her athleisure and all of a sudden just poops on someone's lawn, I can't.
So what's going through your
The
mind?
thing is, though, she didn't poop just once. Like, she's pooped on their lawn multiple times. Like, she...
Is it the same person?
Yeah, she's a repeat
my
pooper. That's
God.
why she got the name Mad Pooper. Like, they put up signs.
I just thought she was pooping on other people. I thought she was
No.
just going
No,
about
she had a
her
vendetta.
And I read on the article that there's bathrooms around. There's like porta potties in parks nearby.
Okay, but-
like she has other places to poop. So this woman is just like, she's all about that like yard. I mean, she's trying to fertilize that grass.
I mean, I get having to poop one time maybe when you're running, but 3 times,
Well, like not in the same day.
I understand. But
Yeah.
still,
Oh.
3 days at all having to poop all of a sudden, the only place you could do it is on someone's lawn.
Maybe she's on her run. She's the same thing every morning or every afternoon when she goes on her run, and then she gets to the same spot when it's just time to go. Nature calls when nature calls. You know?
I guess so.
Joey, do you often feel the need to poop during your morning runs?
No, I do not actually. I guess I don't run that long to feel the need to defecate on someone's lawn.
Hey, I mean, when you gotta go, you gotta go. What do you guys think about? So this happens. We're based in the DC metro area, and we see a lot of pop-up bars. So people have different takes on pop-up bars. When I've been to them, I noticed that there are lines out the door, and it's usually for a mediocre cocktail that I could have made better at my house. What do you guys think?
Well, I think they're definitely. There's so many that pop up and then they disappear for
Well, that's-
I know.
That's the point.
But it's such a fad thing. Like you can't even you might miss it, or even if you do go and you have that terrible experience, like what's the point? And they're usually overly kitschy and.
But that's the whole
Right.
spiel, like.
Have you been to one?
It's the
Yeah, absolutely.
exclusivity.
So which ones have you Did you enjoy it?
Uh,
Did you have a good time?
No, I wouldn't say I had a good time. You're crammed in there and you're paying $14 a drink, and it's like, okay, cool, there's some decorations up.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't like standing on lines. I just feel like that's just kind of BS. And like I can go anywhere, have a $14 drink. But I did want to sit on that throne at the Game of Thrones bar, and I wasn't able to. And so maybe I'm just a little bitter because I didn't get to go.
I mean, I am glad I saw the Demogorgon at the Stranger Things pop-up bar.
Yeah.
But
Didn't that get shut down? No, the one in Chicago. There was one.
I did see the letter that Netflix sent out, like the cease and desist.
Yes, it was a cease and desist.
Oh,
letter.
it was a great letter.
You cannot do this. Netflix was not happy.
Probably the best legal letter I've ever read.
Yeah,
which
it was
totals
hilarious.
one legal letter that I've read, but
When I go to a bar, I want good company. So I'm usually going there with some good friends. I want to be able to enjoy myself and not feel like I'm being rushed out. So I feel like when I go into a pop-up bar, but maybe that's why you go, right? You're going for the gimmick. You're going to experience the art that is the pop-up bar.
I will tell you, I did go to the Will Ferrell pop-up bar this last weekend on H Street, and it was one of the worst decorated places I've ever seen, but that was the point of this whole thing. And it was like all of these mannequins of just like regular mannequins, and they were just dressed as Will Ferrell. It had nothing to do with him, really. It was kind of just like an ode to Will Ferrell, and they had these like printed posters on the wall with like the best quotes about him, and it was hilarious. And I was like, well, this is a pop-up bar I can get behind. There was no one in there. It was pretty much just me taking photos with a fake Will Ferrell.
So Jackie's our resident pop-up bar snob.
I've been to 2.
We're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to check out this one coming to Shaw. It's called Pub Dread. Pub for pop-up bar. Pub Dread. Get
Okay.
it? Yeah. But they have a trailer. They made a trailer for the pop-up bar, and I watched it, and I don't really know what's going to happen, but there's going to be a lot of blood.
Okay, well,
are there going to be blood-themed drinks?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I enjoy Halloween. I'm in. I'm all in.
We should definitely check that out.
Guys, I think the one thing that we really need to talk about is this new trend at football tailgates and large open field parties: mayo belly flops.
I saw you put this video up, and it is hilarious. Like, my first question is, how do you get enough mayo to do a belly flop?
You asked Jackie's mom for a Costco card.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I don't like the idea of mayonnaise on anyone's body. I have to tell you that.
So I enjoy mayonnaise in small doses on a turkey club, maybe a chicken cheesesteak. Definitely not in all of my orifices.
I mean, belly flops aren't even fun to begin with, so why would you want to even do one in mayonnaise?
Yeah, and it's not
And
even
then
like
how
you're
do
in
you
the
get
water.
it out?
And it's sitting in the sun. Like, that is a long time to be outside.
That is some rancid. Oh, and then it's just in your body for the rest of the
And then
day.
what do you judge it on? Like, how much you smell like mayo the rest of the day? Like,
But then you go into the football game or whatever thing you're at, and you smell like mayonnaise.
people can just dip their,
Oh,
whatever
wait,
they
you're just
need.
like
They
Jim
just-
and dip? Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, little disco fries, just little fries.
Oh my God, I hate that idea.
Hey, ladies, skip the condiment line. I got it right here.
So I'm a Giants fan, as you all know at this table. And there is
It's a point
a
of
guy
contention.
at the Giants tailgates who goes around and just shows up at people's tailgates. No one wants him there, but he's big dude, no shirt, and just does the worm, and people chant for him to do the worm. And it's in New Jersey, so naturally that ground is full of things that you probably shouldn't be putting your body on, like rusty nails or for whatever reason, just like broken glass. And he gets up and his whole front is just ripped up. It's awful. And every time he comes around, my dad is always just like, not this guy again. Like, he's been doing this for the last 5 years.
He's just a giant staple now.
He's the guy. Everyone knows about him.
I
They're
really
going to
hope.
recruit him for the mascot.
I don't even think he goes in the game. I have to believe he doesn't go in the
Might not even
game.
be a fan.
He just shows up and does the worm and then leaves.
Does he have a posse? Like, is someone gramming it? Is someone like posting snaps? Or
I have to tell you, I have not talked to him because I don't
you
like
need to
him
talk
very
to him
much.
next
we
time.
need to
you
get
go
this
to
guy
a
on the
Giants game.
pod.
No, absolutely not.
I hope he gets his tetanus shots. That's
He gets all the alcohol because people think it's so funny.
well, it would be kind of funny.
It's not.
I mean, anyone who's doing the worm nowadays, I mean, that's still kind of impressive.
He's not very good.
Oh, he's
Which
not,
I
he's
think
not
is
even
part
good
of
at
the
it.
whole shtick. Like, he's really pretty terrible.
And you know what? The worm is sup. All right, let's get into Google, man. Google what? So we took time to note what we were Googling over the past week, and we're just gonna go through our favorite takes on our gaps of knowledge that we're trying to fill in via the world's most awesome search engine.
Yeah, I definitely usually Google a lot of stupid shit, but
What'd you Google this week?
This last week, I had to Google how to get my reusable K-cup from being swallowed up by the Keurig machine at work. So they have these big Keurig machines, and it's supposed to be for high, a lot of people using it in and out. So when you are done, you don't have to take the K-cup out of it. It just spits it back into a tray.
Oh, it's just see ya.
Yeah, it's just we're done, goodbye. Don't even worry about it. But the problem is I use a reusable K-cup. So I need to get my K-cup back.
Oh, the K-cups at work a little too lowbrow?
You're trying to have a monogamous relationship with this machine.
I'm trying to save the
I'm
trying to save the planet just a little bit,
Yeah.
and this Keurig machine is not helping. So in order for me, I had to Google. I went online and I Googled it, and of course, I don't think anyone's ever Googled this before because no one cares. And I found out that I literally am going to have to take out the disposable tray of all the K-cups to get my K-cup out every time I want to use a reusable K-cup. There's just no way to prevent it from swallowing it.
Oh man.
So I might write a strongly worded letter to Keurig being you need to send another machine to my work for free because I'm trying to save the planet. Or there needs to be an option.
Keurig has never been in the business of saving the
I was just
planet,
gonna
though.
Well,
say
no,
that.
yeah, I mean,
They built a machine that does the exact opposite.
Yeah.
I got a great-
Plastic, we got you.
I got a great idea for that, Steven. I saw this on Thomas the Tank Engine. So all you have to do,
circa what year?
1993.
But he watched it yesterday.
All you got to
Indeed.
do is tie a string onto the reusable K-cup, and once it dumps out, you just rip that sucker back, and you're good to go.
And then
stealing-
have someone on the other end, and you could talk to them too. It uses a telephone.
Trying to
double
steal,
use,
trying to steal a
multi-use.
soda from an old school soda machine. And you
Exactly.
drop the quarter in
Oh my
and pull
God.
it back out. So that's what I Googled, and Google didn't help me on that one.
No.
So-
And usually when you're typing something in Google, you can count on it spitting something out before I'm even done. It
Usually
already knows.
someone else has looked up the stupid shit that
Oh,
yeah.
I've looked up, but not in this case.
Joey, what'd you look up this week?
So this week I Googled Gordon Ramsay's scrambled eggs because someone at work mentioned that they watched this video and it changed their life.
Interesting.
And it also changed mine because Gordon Ramsay makes the best scrambled eggs I've ever seen. And I, did it the next morning and I was like, all right, we're just going to do this. We're just going to stir these eggs for 15 minutes in the pot, see how it comes out.
15 minutes?
In
you have
what
heat
kind
on?
of pot?
Oh, no, you don't even use a pan.
I have so many questions.
Yeah, I have a million questions.
15 minutes?
Hold on, let's unpack,
Oh, yeah.
let's unpack these
We'll
eggs.
unpack it. So Gordon Ramsay's method of cooking scrambled eggs is you don't whisk them beforehand. You just crack them right in the pot. You throw some butter in there, but you use a soup pot, not a pan
Okay.
kind of thing. And you put it on low heat. You do heat management on and off, and then you just keep whisking the whole time with your spatula, and it comes out to this buttery consistency, and it's just amazing.
I'm in.
I mean, if you have 15 minutes to make eggs,
Yeah.
they better be amazing.
Also, eggs is oh, I don't know what else to eat. I'm just gonna make a quick egg. I don't have 15 minutes.
I eat eggs every morning, so this was a game changer for me.
Does he yell at you in the video?
No, that's the thing. He was so nice about it, and I was just so pleasantly surprised at the end of the experience that I felt changed.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was his clone, wasn't it? Didn't that there's a fake Gordon Ramsay going on?
I would believe that there's a fake Gordon Ramsay clone. That man never ages.
That's fair.
Jackie, what'd you Google?
I googled. Wait, I wrote it down.
She has to Google it again.
I googled.
Google what I Googled this week.
I googled Beau Bridges' eyebrows because I really needed to just take a good hard look, and they have not changed for the last many years. First of all, where is Beau Bridges? That's kind of how this conversation started. We were just talking about Beau Bridges, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, that man has crazy eyebrows." And then I went on a spiral. I mean,
Just a
it didn't stop.
wormhole.
No, it was photo after photo. Yeah,
I'm going to put a damper in this and say, who is Beau Bridges?
Jeff Bridges' brother.
Oh, got it.
He's famous. He was in many movies. You don't know who Beau Bridges is either? Oh my God, Steven?
This is gonna. I know who he is when I
know
look
Jeff
at him.
Bridges is.
Are you
But
guys
it's one of
kidding?
those things where it's they kind of do this they're so thick, but they do this lift thing on the end,
guys.
their little
Oh
wings.
my gosh,
Oh,
they're running
oh.
away from the middle of his face.
You
Oh my God.
guys.
Well, we got it up on the screen now.
Yeah, I know
God.
Bo.
Ugh. I just feel like that was.
They're
Yeah, he's an American actor and director.
what do you think's better though? Do you think crazy overly bushed eyebrows or no eyebrows at all and drawn on eyebrows? Which is worse?
Crazy overly bush. Natural is always better.
Always.
Come on. Come on.
You know that you can
Drawn on eyebrows make no sense.
There's this lady that used to work at my mom's old work that had drawn on eyebrows, and the first time I saw her was one of those times where you look at someone and you're so surprised that you can't hide it.
like
I just looked straight at her.
tattooing
I was
eyebrows
"Whoa."
is like a thing.
Yeah, my aunt had has tattooed eyebrows.
People do it to
But
fill them out.
Yeah, but hers weren't tattooed. Like, she drew them on every morning. So it's like some days they would be like a little higher, a little lower. You can kind of tell how her day was going by how well her eyebrows
She's a
were
little
drawn.
hungover. They're like scribbled.
All right, well, that's what I Googled.
So that was a how much time do you think you spent looking at those eyebrows?
I mean, it's like just, you kind of just had to go through all the photos.
Okay. So you spent a good
So
amount of
yeah,
time.
I'd say like at least 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah.
I had a jarring question that I needed answered this week. Been watching a lot of Game of Thrones, rewatching after the series ended after only 7 episodes. But I'm getting through it. It's okay.
We're here for you.
You need to talk to someone.
You know what? I am. It's not helping. So I'm big into the fire arrow, right? I'm a big Zelda guy. I enjoyed the fire arrows, the ice arrows, but there's magic in video games. So I was thinking to myself, the velocity of an arrow is very high. It's flying through the air. And
math.
how does that stay lit? So I thought maybe some fuel on a piece of cotton.
Well, that's how they light them. You talking about the ones that they like shoot from the top of the wall?
Yeah, you shoot
Yeah,
from a bow and arrow.
those have, I assume, gasoline or something like it on it.
Yeah,
and
they're wrapped in like
yeah.
pitch or something.
Right,
Yeah.
but they'd go out if you're shooting from a traditional bow. So what I realized is that the long bows that are used for the fire arrows have a lower pound test than a high velocity compound bow. So that was one thing. And
You
then
lost
the
me.
other,
You went so deep
You lost
on
me
this
so
one.
fast.
dude, I'd spent a good 3 hours looking this up. So what they would do is they would take animal hair and fur and wool, and they would soak it in candle wax, and that's the way that they would make fire arrows to make sure they wouldn't go out. It was like-
They do look vicious flying through there. It's like a comet coming at you.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only thing worse than seeing an arrow come towards you is seeing an arrow on fire coming towards you.
Yeah, I often have arrows coming at me.
Tough day at work.
Just Cupid all the time, huh?
Hey, you know what? Tough times. And that's Google what? Good job, guys. I'm excited.
Thanks.
We're good Google.
You guys Google well.
All right. Have you guys ever had things that your parents have told you and you're like, okay, I believe you, but they end up being lies?
Absolutely.
I honestly don't know.
Well, did your parents tell you about Santa Claus?
Yeah, but like, I
That's a
feel
lie.
like I learned pretty early. I was an astute child.
How did you know it was? Did you stay up all night and just like
Her mom
stare
left her
at
Honestly,
Costco
like, I
receipts
don't
out.
know. Yeah.
the one extra large tray
Well,
of-
no, I mean, you can always tell it was my mom's handwriting on the "To Jackie Love Santa." Actually, she still writes "Love Santa" on our presents.
So do my parents, yeah.
My
They do it with their left hand though. So, or my dad's, they do it
Still?
with the opposite hand. Try and hide that.
Still?
Probably. You
My
gotta live
parents
that
went
fantasy.
All out one year, man. They took the soot from the fireplace and put boot prints.
Oh,
like leading
man.
up to the tree. Like,
They committed to making a
They
mess that they would
committed.
have to clean up later.
They absolutely did.
Dude, your parents loved you. Or Santa loved you, I should say.
yeah, I
The
think
only
s-
evidence I had was the eating cookies and the half-drank milk. Like, why would he drink half the milk?
Yeah, but that
He's
could
not
have been
gonna
my
down
dad.
the-
Why would
Any
he
day.
only eat half the? Or why would you leave crumbs of cookies? Like, when has anyone ever left crumbs?
He's a
Right, if
busy
you're gonna
man.
eat the cookie, you're
You're
gonna,
gonna
eat the whole
cookie.
cookie.
Wrap
Like,
it up.
probably
one bite.
multiple cookies.
Homie can use his magic to slip down a freaking chimney. Why does he need to worry about his weight?
That's what I want to know too. Is like, why does he even get
You
fat?
guys, we're talking about Santa Claus,
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lie our parents told us.
right? But you're
And we
really trying to
resent
get to
them
the
for it.
down to the science of this.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not real.
He's not real
Sorry,
anymore.
any kids that are listening.
So, a big thing, I wasn't aware of hydration at a young age, but I would get thirsty and I knew I needed to have a drink. But we'd be on long car rides and my dad used to say, well, just drink your spit until we get home.
That's amazing.
Yeah, drink your spit. And I was like, oh, yeah. And then I would like sit there and then just salivate until I had a mouthful and then swallow.
You wouldn't spit it out into a cup and then drink it again?
Not for the first time.
Oh, okay.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's terrible. My dad told me.
But did you ever get to a point where you were so thirsty you couldn't salivate? Like you were just that like.
Yeah, I was like, Dad, what now?
Yeah, what do I do when I can't make spit?
You drink your own piss.
That was for a different thing.
I mean, I can get how, as a kid, that would kind of make sense because it's a liquid technically, and you can swallow it. So
And
I can
also
see,
your
I can
dad
s-
didn't want to stop.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
how you understood that.
No,
Though.
Dad wanted to get home quick.
Is your spit solid? Is that why you said technically a liquid?
Well, it's not like free. It's not free flowing like water. Like well, you know, it's like it's kind of like
viscous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's more of a
No.
yeah.
Just,
that's-
no.
What about TV myths about sitting too close to the TV?
I got that one for sure. It's going to hurt your eyes.
Hurt
How
your
do you
eyes.
know, Mom? You don't know?
What are your
But you do wear
sources?
glasses.
Yeah, I do wear glasses.
Yeah, Jackie didn't wear
That's
glasses
genetic.
until she stuck her
Yeah.
face against the TV.
My brother had a problem with not his face sticking or like having eyesight. It's more that his whole body stuck when he walked by the TV. Like if he was doing a chore and the TV was on, the second he got in proximity to the TV, he would just stop and stare at the TV. Vacuum still on. So that was not a lie. That was true for him. That if the TV was on, he was stuck.
Why did we want to sit close to the TV anyway?
Because
Because TVs
I don't
back
know
then were like
what
12
kind of
inches.
house you lived in, but there was 5 million things happening in my house at all times, and we're Italian, so everyone's always yelling. The closer you are to the TV, the better you can hear.
So it's more an audio
Yeah.
thing.
Then you don't have
rather
to
than
worry
visual.
about everybody
Plus, like,
behind
if you had those rabbit ears, you got to be in close proximity to like get a better.
You do not have rabbit
Yeah,
ears.
one of our TVs did. Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah, my parents want to save that dough. Get the local channels and you're set. You got to whack the TV
Live the
a couple
simple
times.
life.
Well then TVs got better.
Yeah.
I mean, the resolution of those TVs was less than an iPhone 3.
You had to sit that close just to see what was going
I
on.
remember being able to see pixels just immediately.
I hated it
Jake
when
was the first one to identify pixels.
I invented a pixel.
Very young age.
I hated it when you had to adjust like old monitors or old TVs, like the horizontal and vertical lines, like to get everything to like square up. Because sometimes like you'd be watching like an old TV in like a waiting room, and like half of it is off screen, and the other half is come back around the other side,
Yes.
and your brain is hurting so hard to put two of them together and figure out like what's going on in the soap opera, because that was probably what was on in the waiting room.
Yeah.
General Hospital.
Or Days of Our Lives.
Do you know what really bothered me was when they switched to 16:9, like 5 years too early, and nobody had a 16:9 TV. Everyone still had 3x4. So especially because the screens were so small, so you're looking at black bars the whole time. Talk about sitting close to the TV.
My
Well, we're getting that again with the iPhone X.
Yeah,
yeah, no more black bars.
full circle. What about? Do you guys make a lot of faces as kids, taunting your
I
siblings?
have a face.
I mean, sure.
Like
Absolutely.
tongue out and like
Eyes closed, scrunch up, and it's gonna stick that way. I don't know.
I don't know if I made a face that long where my parents would tell me like your face is gonna stick that way. I think that's just another lie that they tell you so that way you don't make weird faces in the grocery line and they are like 5% less embarrassed.
So they don't
that day.
look like a bad parent.
Yeah, and so their parenting skills are a little higher that day.
What are you guys watching right now?
So
That's an excellent question.
I watched on a plane recently. I watched Goon 2. I'm
Nice.
a big hockey fan. Sean William Scott's in the movie.
What was Goon 1?
Goon 1. Okay, Goon. So
boy.
most people that like hockey, like a lot of people like it for the fighting, right? So Goon is like this whole movie about like the enforcers in hockey, and it's like it's a comedy, and Sean William Scott's in it, and he plays like this guy who like he only is on the team because he can fight really well. He can barely skate and stuff like that. Cool thing about the Goon movies though is they're made in Canada by I can't remember who like the studios or whatever, but they do it in Canada. It's for like Canadian fans. They use Canadian hockey teams, so it's kind of a way to get like Canada to have a movie about Canada, because most movies that people in Canada watch are like exported from the U.S. So it's like you can kind of see their home, like they can see their hometowns on the screen and stuff like that. But
When
I
was
can't
this
believe
made?
It's just Goon 2 came out just recently. Goon came out in 2011.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, straight to DVD, as they
Okay,
used to
there you
say.
go.
Straight to streaming, but it was supposed to be that way, I believe. But Sean William Scott, dude, he has come a long way,
Love me some Sean William Scott.
but he still is Sean William Scott.
Yeah, he'll forever be Stifler.
Yeah.
And that's
This
just
this
that.
movie is basically if Stifler just grew up and still doesn't have a real job and fights people on ice.
And got hit in the head too many times because he just doesn't know anything
Pretty
except how to
much.
fight.
But I highly recommend it. If you don't watch hockey at all, you're not a hockey fan, check out the Goon movies because there's something for you in there. Trust me.
It's like adult Mighty Ducks. It's
Really selling
It really
it.
is. It
No,
really
it's
is.
awesome.
It's like the adult Mighty Ducks. That's so true.
They are not paying us to say this.
No.
No one, literally no one's paying us.
Invoices in the mail.
I don't think enough people watch the movies for them to pay anybody to promote it.
But if they want to pay us to say this,
Reach out to us.
What are you watching, Jake?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Game of Thrones. So I started listening to all of the Game of Thrones books on Audible.
ooh, game changer.
Yeah. So I do a lot of driving for my 9 to 5. So I have a lot of time in the car. And leaving myself alone with my thoughts is never a good idea. So I've been listening to the books on tape, and books on iPhone. It's really incredible because I don't know if you guys have ever listened to a book on tape.
Yeah.
But they like make the voices different for the different characters, and then it's really fun to follow along. And, like, because I like hate reading.
If you're
I get bored. I like fall asleep as
I
soon
fall
as
asleep
like
too.
5 pages and done.
Not a very
couple
good reader.
paragraphs.
immediately.
Books on tapes, I think it is the voice. Like if they're like I've listened to a book on tape before where it was a terrible voice, and then I didn't want to listen to it.
So, just to let you know, the only other book series that I've listened to on tape,
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Yes.
Awesome audiobook.
With Jim Dale.
Yeah.
And Jim Dale is just like the godfather of English accents and reading Harry Potter.
That's fair.
It's amazing.
That's a solid one for someone who's never done a book on tape before.
If you want to start with Harry Potter.
I'm watching Gossip Girl from the beginning.
all the way back to the front.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
here's the thing. It's the 10-year anniversary of Gossip Girl, and it got me thinking, yeah, I should probably watch this from the beginning because I remember this from high school. And it is awesome. I mean, there's no drama like Gossip Girl. Game of Thrones has nothing on it.
How long has that show been out for?
Yeah, this is the 10-year anniversary
10
of the
10 years,
first
okay.
episode, I guess. But I don't think it was like 5 seasons or 6 seasons. I don't know. It's all a blur because every episode's the same and they just like rotate who's into who. It's really mind-numbing.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out.
I think you'll really like it.
I remember catching episodes that my mom and sister would watch as I would like come home from work, but I've never actually dove in, but I'll have to check it out.
Well, there was this like weird lull after Game of Thrones ended of like nothing new was on TV and I'm like, well, what am I going to do with my time? Gossip Girl.
That's very true.
I filled that void with Rick and Morty, which I'm
Oh,
watching from the
Rick
beginning.
and
Like
Morty.
everybody's into Rick and Morty right now.
Have you not?
I have
Are
never
you
watched
into
it
Rick and
either.
Morty?
No, I'm not. Do I need to be?
Yes.
Yeah.
You watched Rick and Morty.
This is the first time I'm watching it, and it is awesome.
Tell me more.
I really can't explain it. You just got to watch it.
What do you like about it the most?
It's just kind of nonsense. And that is the kind of cartoon I most enjoy.
Well,
That's
nonsense is really important right now because there's so many serious things going on
Yeah, like
that
that's
it's nice to just kind of escape.
That's why
Yeah.
I watch Gossip Girl.
Also, like if you are a fan
not-
of Dan Harmon, like this show is for you. It is really solid.
What
And
other shows did he do?
well, Dan Harmon he has a really good podcast that he does. He was the writer producer for like Community, and he did Monster House back in 2006. And he actually does have a really cool podcast. I think it's called Dan Harmon After Dark. No, I can't remember what it is. But Rick and Morty is really good. And it's a show that's like really good at knowing how to make fun of itself.
Super meta.
Yeah, very meta.
I love meta
and
anything,
It
so
touches
I'm into
on
it.
things in like that are going on in the world in like a way that is so smart, so funny. There's tons of jokes. Sometimes I like have to watch it like an episode again just to like understand some of the things that were going on. So yeah, if you're not watching Rick and Morty, you need to get on it.
I'm into it. I'm all in on Rick and Morty now.
I've never even heard of this.
Well, that's
Well, now you have.
now you have.
Now I
So
have.
you
Pod
can-
Who Dis.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I'm also on probably my 5th watch through of The Office.
Oh, now The Office
is just always on in my mind.
always on repeat. Like that thing is just always on the background of my house.
Yeah, absolutely. Fall asleep to The
What's your
Office.
favorite? What is your favorite season or episode?
So I'm not
Impossible.
specific on the season or the episode, but I know the cold open that is definitely my favorite. It's when Jim and Dwight are on some type of business trip, I think for like the Sabre brick and mortar store, and Jim's like talking to the camera, and then he like set up this whole murder scene in his room, and he like puts himself in the closet.
Oh, yeah.
Dwight opens the door, and Jim just falls. His corpse just falls out, and Dwight just starts losing it, and then it just cuts to the intro music, and I lose it. I lose it every time. I could watch that on repeat for days, and just it would never be not funny.
My favorite cold open is when Dwight lights the office on fire.
Which time?
The time where he's like trying to teach them all a lesson for not paying attention, but then everyone is super duper, and then Stanley has a heart attack. But my favorite part about it is when Angela throws her cat into the ceiling and it comes out the other side. I mean, the whole thing is so ridiculous.
Isn't that when he has the line, "This time smoking's gonna save lives"?
It's just like when it cuts to just scenes of him with the blowtorch and he's like putting it on the handle, and you're like, oh my God. It's fantastic.
I think I have a pitch for West 11th Media for the Office watch through commentating podcast.
Done.
We could definitely watch.
I would definitely do that.
Go through episode by episode
Yeah.
and talk about
That's
so it.
unpack.
That's
just
happening.
unpack. We'll have to pitch that to the boss, see what he thinks, or she.
We have no boss.
Something else
Get it.
that I was listening to, but I can't wait to watch, is a podcast that has been turned into an Amazon original short series, which is really cool.
You were telling us about that.
Yeah, because I don't know how many other times this has happened where a podcast has been so good and has gotten such a big fan following that they've actually wanted to like transfer it to a different medium and like do it another way. But podcast was called Lore. And the show is going to be called Lore, and it's going to be awesome. The host Aaron Mahnke is like, he tells you like all these stories about all these old tales that are really spooky and scary, and all these like old lore and folk tales. And there's this guy that plays like piano in the background, and it sounds really epic. And if you're into spooky stuff, I highly recommend that. But I was super excited to see that the trailer finally came out for it.
I'm into it. Should we listen to the podcast before we watch the series? Or I guess the series isn't out yet.
Well, the podcast has been on for like, I've been listening for 2 years.
Okay.
So like
Whoa.
you can go and like it has tons of stuff from like bodies that like need to be like, you know, floating. They're like ghosts and they need to be removed from houses, to like people just dying, to like lighthouse keepers who have gone missing, like crazy cool stuff. And he's like lives in the northeast of the United States. So like up in like the Boston area, you know, there's a lot of things about witches and like beasts and ghouls and all that cool stuff. So it's definitely one of the ones that I don't listen to at like 2x speed because it's just that awesome. But you don't have to listen to the podcast. You can just watch the show and it'll be just as awesome.
I'm excited.
But it'll probably be a gateway drug.
I got Gossip Girl and Lore. I'm going to be mixing them, mixing the highs and the lows.
They're in the same genre too.
Yeah.
So
I
you
know.
should be fine.
My Amazon feed is just gonna like the AI's mind is just gonna explode. I don't know what you like.
You went from a
You're
late
gonna
20s
break Amazon.
man to like a teenage girl.
That's incredible.
You can get all sorts
I
of
actually-
great advertisements.
I actually heard that I was listening to, I don't know what podcast I was listening to, but they were talking about when they were coming up with recommendation engines for like what songs you should listen to, and they were talking to like the dude who did like Spotify's, and they were saying like, oh, when they first started, they were kind of doing waveform matching, but then they realized like a lot of sounds sound the same, so like some like harps and harpsichords kind of sound like distorted guitars. So like if you listen to like a rock and roll song, all of a sudden you start getting some classical music as well. So that definitely did not work
Nope.
out.
That's amazing.
boy.
Yeah.
You'll love this new Metallica song.
Yeah, some like 70-year-old who likes to listen to like slow classical music, all of a sudden like Metallica comes on.
Not ready for that.
Give him a heart attack.
That's awesome. So as a past service industry employee, I'm always thirsty to hear some good stories from the cut, man. Jackie, what do you got? You got any good stories from behind the bar?
I've got some stories from behind the bar. I mean, I can tell you one. Do you want to hear
I
one?
would love to hear
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Okay, this was a story that it was just one of those moments that left me kind of in awe. So I had this couple come in from South Carolina around cherry blossom season, which we all know is high volume of people in the city, but people miss it all the time because there's no way of knowing when it's actually going to happen. So these people came in, they sat at my bar, they were all distraught because they had missed the cherry blossoms. And it's like, this guy is like, I don't know, let's call it 5'4", like this long ponytail, probably in his 60s, tatted up everywhere. And his wife, who was probably 6 foot, had also tattoos everywhere. They were just like this older couple. They had been driving forever and they just were pissed. And they sat down and they were like, what do you have? What kind of beers do you have on tap? And I'm like going through the whole spiel. She made me try every single one of them. She tried every single one of them. I poured her one of each one. She wound up getting a Sam Adams, which is like, you know, at the end of the day, the most common beer. But I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Then she gets the menu and she's like, well, what's good here? And I just went through that whole thing. And, you know, crab cakes are great and you should try those and whatever. So she orders the double crab cake and it comes out and they are eating and she eats the entire thing. And the husband doesn't talk the entire time. She was definitely in charge. And so they finish the whole thing. The plate's empty. Like, take away the stuff. And I'm like, well, how was everything? And she was like, well, you know, they were fine. But I don't know. I think I make the best crab cakes. And in my head, I'm thinking, lady, if you make crab cakes at home all the time, why would you order those when you come to another state to have, or, you know, district?
That's a rookie move.
to have crab cakes. And so I was like, ugh, so what am I going to do with this? I need these people to be happy when they leave here. So I'm like, you know what? I understand what you're saying. Like, I make great meatballs and I wouldn't order those at a restaurant either. Like, I understand where you're coming from. And all of a sudden her entire mood changed. And she was like, you're the best. Thank you so much for understanding. Nobody gets what I'm talking about. Meanwhile, her husband literally was sitting there not saying a word the entire time. Like, this is the weirdest conversation. And they monopolized my entire brunch shift. So while they're leaving, she's leaving very happy and she shakes my hand and she was just like, I really enjoyed your aura. Thank you for what you brought today. And I just want you to have this. And in my hand, she left me a small black rock.
Was it charged with her positive energy?
Okay, so I had a million follow-up questions, but I couldn't ask any of them because as soon as I came to and looked up, they were gone. She was gone. She had left me a black rock as a tip and told me she liked my aura, but in my head, I'm like, does that mean that you hated me? That was her tip. Her tip was a rock, okay?
Okay, are we talking like pebble? Are we talking
No, it was like the size of my palm.
Rounded rock that you would find on the beach or like in a stream?
It was black and really soft, like a very smooth black rock.
You sure it wasn't the resurrection stone?
I
You're now
have
the
no
master of
idea.
death. You need the elder wand?
So I'm thinking if she's telling me she likes my aura, there's got to be some sort of like weird, you know, she's into rocks. I have no idea.
She's into you, maybe.
Well, who knows? But they left. I didn't even see them walk away. They just like disappeared into thin air. And then I look over and there's this like mother and daughter from New York, which obviously I relate to. And they just burst out laughing. And they were like, we watched that entire thing go down. We are as shocked as you are. I've never seen anything like it. And I couldn't get over it. The entire shift, I'm just, what do I do with this rock? In my head, I'm like, if I throw this out, I'm cursed for life because that's probably what she did to me. But also, where do you put a little rock in your home?
You declared on your taxes, that's for sure.
Yeah. What'd you leave with today? Well, $50 and this rock.
Yeah, this rock's really going to pay off down the principal on my student loans. Appreciate it.
That's exactly right.
I wonder if like the rock, like, what if it is like a cool rock and you just don't know it?
Well, I lost the rock.
You don't even have the rock anymore.
So I got a little rock
This
history.
had to have been like, I don't know, let's call it 3 years ago. And so I brought the rock home and I like explained the whole thing to my roommate and he was like, well, you can't throw that rock away. Like, I don't want this thrown out in our home because then this is it for us. So
You could have started a rock garden.
Well, I stuck it in a plant that we had and then the plant died and he threw the plant out.
That rock had some bad juju.
Yeah, the rock killed the plant. It had to have. Then the plant got thrown out and the rock is never to be seen again.
I keep picturing Dwayne Johnson in my head as you're talking.
Should put a small
Honestly,
Dwayne The Rock Johnson in your hand.
if you would have left me the Rock, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, I would have been a happy camper.
Oh, so funny. That's a good segue. Speaking of Dwayne the Rock Johnson,
He also tipped you a rock.
No, I do this funny thing. Well, it's funny to me. So when I'm out at a bar, I never sign my own name.
I love doing that.
What?
Ever.
Until someone
Ever?
steals my credit card and I can't dispute the charges.
So my most recent one that I've been signing has been Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, before it was I would do Justin Bieber a lot, Harry Styles. Those were definitely like my top four from most recently. Dwayne, sometimes just Dwayne.
Sometimes
Johnson.
I just sign signature.
Oh my God.
Or
But then you got like, so you could pick anyone. Like why those ones?
Yeah. I mean, I usually sign Jake Fronto because I'm using your credit card.
That makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
I also signed
No,
your
Dwayne the
name.
Johnson, probably because he's just the man. He's so influential, and his social media just speaks to me.
What about when you go to like Starbucks and they ask for your name? Do you ever just give out a different one?
No.
I have a friend who does that. She has a very complicated name, and she gives out an alias, and it's a different one every single time. And I don't understand. I can't keep up.
What if she forgets?
She always remembers. She's got them categorized. I have a feeling that she's got like one for Starbucks, another for like, I don't know, where she signs, when she's making her orders at McDonald's. Who knows? They're just all.
She's got a system.
She's got
She's
aliases.
got a
for all her
system.
places.
It's foolproof. And yeah.
But like, I would if I gave a name that wasn't mine, I'd probably forget that I gave that name, and they'd just be yelling for like,
Give it forever.
John.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there like, man, my drink's taking forever.
Who's this asshole John guy?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Are you guys the kind of people who do the math on your receipts, or do you just write math?
So I'm glad you brought that up. Math.
I write math as well.
It depends.
But it's mostly because I really.
Oh, you
usually
mean like
pretty
actually
loaded.
writing the word math in
yeah,
the tip?
I write the word.
Oh.
I leave the total of what I know I'm going to leave, and then I just write math because.
I've always wondered. This is something I should have Googled, but is that line just there for you to do the math?
So
It's for you to put the tip there.
Yeah, but like they know how much the tip is based on
it's
how
for-
much money you
It's
give.
for
right?
verification. So
That it
the
does.
system that we would use when you close out, when you render the credit card, and then when you close it out, you type in the total and then hit credit card close, and it does the math for you. But what I would use it for is if somebody, the bill was $90 and then they left a $20 tip, but they only wrote the total as $100. I would tell my manager that's getting rung in as $20 because
Yeah, so the
clearly-
restaurant could save their butts if someone called and said, you overcharged my
Yeah.
tip. And then you go back and say, actually, you just wrote math. Which is me every single time.
I really like that line because depending on how hard it is for me to do that math, I know how drunk I am. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be a bad night.
Yeah. It is funny
totally-
to, like, when you, I mean, on the other side, serving people that you know, maybe they had a few and you're like, you're feeling good. And then you look at the receipt and you're like, they did their math right. Congratulations. It's the ones who are completely sober that don't do their math right. And they're off by like $10.
Oh,
It's just
man.
like illegible.
I mean, if you can't move that decimal point in times by 2, oof, you need to be cut off.
In my old age, I have what's called low battery mode. So my body just starts to shut down either the later or the more drinks that I have. And it's not even like, oh man, I'm just getting drunk. It's just my whole body just ceases all motor functions, and my wife knows that it's. I usually say it's 5%, and she knows to call the Uber and get me home.
Gotta get you
9 times out of 10, I'm asleep at the
Something's
Uber.
flashing.
Yeah.
My wife's getting stolen.
You need like an audio beep, like beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
Like low battery
Time
mode.
to charge Jake.
Yeah,
Plug him in.
yeah, charge. Yeah. Oof.
Shutting down.
Let's call it, guys. I mean, that was an action-packed first episode.
That
really was.
was episode 1. I mean, it happened.
It's over already?
Mom, if you're listening, that
Thank
one
you.
was for you.
Shout out to all the moms out there, single or otherwise.
We don't discriminate.
So if you
I
want
just mean from the strength.
Right, yeah, no, of course.
So if
Solidarity.
you've made it to the end of the episode and you want to get in touch with us for some reason,
to tell us to shut up.
you can find us at newpodwhodis@gmail.com. That's newpodwhodis, DIS, @gmail.com. We will be back for another podcast next Saturday.
Yeah, and if you want to hit us on the social medias, we can hit New Pod Who Dis on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, TBD. So great chatting with you guys.
Yeah.
Peace.
Later.
Bye.
Later.